as part of the Raising the Between the Bars series, we're expanding it to talk about albums in general, you know what I mean? And after the Chloroseptic remix Between the Bars we did, I figure we'd start breaking into albums, and what better than Eminem? You know what I mean? I think people will find it interesting, our perspective on it. We're not going to listen to any of it. We'll just give our thoughts on it. It's too many songs, too much to try to thumb
So we're not going to listen to any of it?
Nah, just kind of, I know you've listened to the album, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know if you guys have. Feel free to leave your thoughts. I might not peep them at all, but you know what I mean? People might want to know.
Yeah.
But yeah, Revival notes, like, I kind of went through initially and just, like, made notes on songs and shit. Brief notes, but just sort of to kick it off, like, before going into this album, did you anticipate any sort of sound, or did you have any sort of, like, idea or preconceived, preconceptions going into listening to the record?
Yeah, I mean, I did. Look, dude, I'm coming from a perspective of, I'm like a huge Eminem fan, like a very, very big Eminem fan. In my opinion, those first 3 albums and that initial run are classics. One of the best pen games.
You talking about Shady, Marshall Mathers, and Eminem show, right?
Yeah, that was the 1, 2, 3 fucking combo plus the D12 shit. The early M shit I love. Like, Relapse, I love. Encore, I wasn't the biggest fan of. And then pretty much from like 2010 and on, there was like a switch pretty much in Eminem. Now, whether it has to do with the shit where he had to like relearn how to speak, or just his rhythm, him getting older, I don't know what it is, but there was like a dramatic shift in the rhythm of the way that he raps. You feel me? And it was a little bit in Encore and Relapse, but Relapse I love. I'll fight to the death of that album. But
yeah, I think we've had.
You feel me?
Yeah,
but here's
debates.
The difference though with something like Relapse is the rhythm didn't change. The rhythm is still the same on Relapse. You feel me? There was like a switch with Eminem's rhythm, and that's what like is really off-putting. And then like the albums he dropped before Revival, I was, I'm someone that'll find the silver lining in songs. You know what I'm saying? I will find something I like about a song way quicker than something I don't like about a song. So it was almost like I like want to like all the new stuff. You know what I'm saying? And I just think out of all the shit he's dropped, like since probably that post like Relapse time or post like Encore, this is the one I really like the least. And because it's like,
that being said, then probably your least favorite Eminem album.
It is. It's my least favorite. Because to me, it's like, I kind of was prepared for it, though, because it's like, I know how he's coming lately. And, like, if you read it if you read the lyrics on paper, it's still, like, crazy as fuck, you know what I'm saying? But, like, the Cypher verses and the couple songs he put out leading up to it, I was almost conditioned not to expect anything, you feel me? And while I think there's maybe 1 or 2 songs that are good in it, overall, I just don't rock with the sound of it. You know what I'm saying? It's like from beats to tone to topics. It's
on
just,
Walk on Water, first track. What do you think of that? Opening the album with that song, like, because the song is sort of like, you could go 1 or 2 ways with it. Like, the song is shining a spotlight essentially on his insecurities, but also kind of the way, like, it kind of what we're talking about in internalizing it. Like, he's acknowledging the things almost you're saying. But what's your take on that? Do you think that that's a dope way just to come and address the elephant in the room, or does it come off where it's almost like drawing attention to it? You know, it's almost a double-edged sword.
It's weird because when he talks about the shit, like acknowledging that people don't like his flow and acknowledging that people aren't fucking with his music as much, he talks about it and addresses it. So he's obviously aware of it. But it's also tongue-in-cheek because it's like, he said Walk on Water was whack, suck my dick, you feel me? Like in the Chloroseptic remix, he says that, like in the verse. So there's two ways I look at it. There's one way where no matter how shitty Eminem's albums are, no one can really tell him shit because he's the highest selling, most famous artist of all time. Like one of those. He's on Michael Jackson, Elvis Presley level. So at the end of the day, no one can really say shit. And I just think it's like when you're that isolated in a bubble, I think he's just almost a little. I don't want to say like out of touch, but it kind of is that. You feel me? Where it's almost like it's probably like it's a gift and a curse because it's like he's in this superstardom level where he can't even go to the store to go somewhere, and he's in his own bubble. But then also it just seems like it's a little out of touch, especially when like
creatively in that same sort of bubble as well. Like,
yeah,
locked in. Yeah, like even going into the second track, like Believe, and I'm don't want to like go through every song, but it just brings it's the quintessential thing we're talking about with flow for me.
Yeah,
like the beat for one is like the beat was low and didn't really knock on a bunch of songs, but this one in particular, like it was like really the beat was really in the backseat.
Yeah.
But he has that like staccato flow, like the like stop pause, and it's like I'm reminded of like the wheelchair kid from Malcolm in the Middle. Like he like hella does like when I do, and it's like I know like it comes off and he's attempting to do it in a way of like styling almost, but it's just ill-placed to me at times, I don't hate it in moderation here and there, but sometimes it just is like, what? Why? And he has dope-ass quotables on that. Like, I took some notes, like...
Read it on paper, bro. Read the album on paper on Genius, and you'll probably think it's one of the best
He said,
albums ever.
He said, I'm that unreleased... I'm that unreleased prayer unanswered, and I'm gonna get you jacked up like you trying to fix a flat. When you struggle with despair...
No.
You know what I'm saying?
I don't know about
something about something, maybe not unreleased, maybe that's a typo, but something prayer. I'm that something prayer answered, and you might get jacked up like you trying to fix a flat. When you struggle with despair, like that's actually a dope lyric. Like you're struggling with despair, tired. That's tight. I'm not mad at that. He also said,
it's the way though. It's the presentation.
Yeah. But here's the thing: is how perfect is the rhymes, and that's really important to him. You know what I'm saying?
It's
and
too
that's
important.
one thing. It's too important.
It's too important.
You're right, because there's hella internals. Like if you break this down with Ant said, I'm gonna get you jacked up and trying to fix a flat butt.
And the crazy thing is like
struggle with this.
He was already so good at like the syllable shit before without addressing it or any. Because dog, it's one of those things, bro. If you look at him, I've always actually had this theory about Eminem's new music. Eminem's flow went from being like, his fucking strength.
When you hear him hate about it, he hates his old flow. He talks about that.
Dude, and here's the thing, bro. It's like Eminem's flow went from being from the left to the right. Like it went from being early, behind the beat
being late
to ahead of the beat. Right. You feel me? And every album he put out, it literally
scooted.
No, now it's way too far to the right. It's like he fucking recorded his verse, and he's like, all right, can you put it in triple time? Like he tells the engineer, like, just put it in triple time. Just... You know what I'm saying? Like, he records 3 verses, and he's like, hey, can you just squash it down to 1 verse? Like, you feel me? Like, what happened to the rhythm? That's my biggest criticism of it, because I want to like it. That's the thing, bro. It's like, I wanted to like it, but...
He said, even my cheap shots are overpriced. That was pretty tight in the song, Believe. He also said, that's why they call me Firecracker. I grew up on Wick. With a short fuse, and like, Wick, you know what I'm saying? If you don't know, so that's like... government assistance, you feel me? Like that shit is hard.
No.
They call me Firecracker, grew up on Wick, something with a short fuse. Like overall, I thought the second song gave me a little hope, but it was like the beat was low, but he was spitting, and I was like, all right. And honestly, I could have done with just that song as track 1 rather than Walk on Water, because I felt like it kind of accomplished the same thing, like the hook being like, do you believe? Do you believe in me? Do you still believe in me? Like that sort of is like, it kind of is like redundant with Walk on Water pairing, you know what I mean?
It's kind of a similar topic to a lot of his shit though. There's a lot of redundancy. Yeah. And to me, it's like, Eminem he signed fucking Royce da 5'9", Conway, Westside Gun, and Boogie, and it's like those fools are experts at flow, and it's like, it's not that M isn't, M was. You feel me? It's like. It's like, if you look at someone like Royce da 5'9" has only gotten better every album for the most part. You feel me? And it's like, I know he probably don't want to jeopardize his situation and all, but it's just disappointing, bro. Because I really want to like it, and I am an M fan. M is in my top 5. Like Eminem is fucking one of the greatest lyricists of all time, and has a few albums that are like life changing and shit. But it's like, it's kind of just like watching Jordan just like practicing in the gym but missing every shot, even just in the gym. You feel me? Like not even in a game. You feel me? It's past Jordan on the Wizards.
It's like, yeah, man.
But
The song-
what could anyone tell him though, bro?
Right,
What could
yeah.
anyone tell Eminem?
And keep in mind, like, keep watching. We're coming from a fan's
fan. Oh, I'm a
perspective.
fan, bro.
And I actually have a lot of good things to say, but I kind of want to. I took some notes just on my first listening experience and wanted to like touch on just a few things, like the song "Untouchable." That's the like black boy, na 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 na, white boy, white. That song, right? Like, let me just say a couple things about it. Like, not a fan of the beat. I know he does the rock sampling thing all the time, but it was just very missed for me.
It's
Didn't like his delivery. I also get it. It's almost in the vein of some of his conceptual songs with sort of, I wouldn't say the song's satirical, but it almost has that satirical vibe. Like, he raps from a cop's perspective towards, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, people of color or whatever. And, like, you know, I get it. He's done that sort of thing before. You know what I mean? Like, it's a white trash party, fucking, you know, the sort of satirical, white America, you know what I'm saying? However, the beat switches up in that song, and I'm like, this should have been the song. Yeah, it's tight. The beat is pretty dope. M says dope shit about, you know, how they send white cops who aren't acclimated to like black culture, into black people in general, into those neighborhoods. He touches on like economic segregation, making Kaepernick an example out of. Like, this I thought also could have just stood alone without the first half of the song. But I get also that that's kind of Eminem's thing that he does sometimes. You know what I mean? So he has. I actually quoted like a whole paragraph. I think it's the very end of that song because I thought it was amazing. He was like, we raise it, you better praise it, or you'll be made to feel like a traitor will. Treat you like Rodney Dangerfield. Home of the brave is still racist, Phil. So this whole nation feels like a plantation feel in a country that claims that its foundation is based on the United States ideals that had its natives killed, had you singing the star-spangled spiel to a piece of cloth that represents the land of the free that made people slaves to build.
See, you just killed that. See, that sounded sick when you were saying it.
But like, that shit was amazing.
Hey, but here's the thing about it, bro, is while we're conditioned to be able to catch complex lyrics a lot faster than other people. The thing about it is even if he's saying all that crazy shit, like the way that it's
not
being
what you
said,
say, it's how you say it.
Yeah, it's hard for people to catch how meaningful and deep some of that shit is, regardless of even rhyme syllable shit. Just what he's actually saying. Yeah. It's because it's like the way that he's saying it. It's not easily digestible, bro. You never had to strain or scratch your head to figure out what Eminem was saying. Yeah, that's the thing about it. It was always like, you feel me, like you could catch it. Yeah. Like there might be lines and little things you didn't get, but someone could listen to it that's never heard hip hop in their life. And like if I played my dad one of these new Eminem songs, he would be like, "What?" Like he'd be like, I hear the beat." He'd be like, "I know what the beat is, but like, what the fuck is this fool saying?" You feel me? That's like my only thing. There is a song I did like on there though. It's the song that sounds like it's a relapse song. The name of it is
Framed. Yeah.
I like Framed.
Let's talk about that.
I like Framed.
Yeah,
that reminded me a little bit of some older.
Yeah, it has. Shit. It's like about fucking.
That beat was fire too.
Yeah, the beat was real tight. That's actually that. That's my first fucking
which I'm
note.
Actually
his best beat so far on the album.
It's the best beat on the album to me. Produced by Fredwreck, and Fredwreck I haven't seen them in a while. Fredwreck did. Do you remember that song with West Side Connection and Nate Dogg? This
yeah.
Yep. No, and he did. You remember that other song with Nate? They say Nate, you be the hardest motherfucker in here. Corrupt song. Fredwreck got beats, and I haven't seen him in a while. But yeah, Fredwreck.
That shit was a slap.
It's my favorite beat.
And it's vintage M. You know, crazy concept. Talking about being framed for killing this bitch, like
relapse.
Yeah. It was. I thought he even dropped the innuendo shout out. Essentially, he rhymed innuendo with innuendo, like because he's like something like I won't drop no innuendos. Get the hint, ho, I'm in your window or something like that. Like
he was for sure watching the battle.
Yeah.
Hey, him should stop watching battles though because I feel like that's influenced a lot of his flow too. When it's like
yeah.
Or just like it's like it's like Disaster's flow, but like sped up and then like not on beat, sort of. You know what I'm saying?
It's just yeah.
It's weird, bro.
The song with Kaylani,
Yeah.
Nowhere. Someone else I put like this is more in line with a big single that still has the I don't give a fuck attitude on it slightly because I'm referencing like some of the other earlier singles with like Ambassador X and some of the other kind of big meant to be single sounding ass shit.
Yeah.
This one I actually could identify some of the I don't give a fuck on it. That attitude that we love M for, like that thing that makes M dangerous. In the end of the second verse, he said, will I ever fall off? That day will never come till I'm in the pine box, bitch, fuck you. I'm better than I ever was.
Wow.
I'm like, more of that confidence.
Yeah.
You feel me? Like, and that was some of my like gripe with Walk on Water and all these other songs. Like, I'm with addressing the elephant in the room and all these things, but it was just done in a way on a lot of songs that on a lot of the songs I genuinely felt like he wasn't confident. You know what I mean? Like I genuinely maybe I'm reading too much into it, but it wasn't even about reading. It was just about like that was the way I felt listening to a lot of it. Like, ooh, like he's trying to find it. You know what I mean? And I like kind of tapped into that and could hear that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a bunch of other joints, you know what I mean? Oh, Unoffended, I wanted this quotable, another crazy. He's like, grow up, nah, not that I know of, y'all. Basement just got a freaking overhaul, got a stripper pole installed, started rolling all through the colonic pins like a bowling ball. I can overdose on twice the ratio of Propofol and go through no withdrawal while I get fellatio and give a facial to an interracial blow-up doll of Rachel Dolezal.
Fire.
Like that shit was insane, you know what I mean? Like
the lyrics are hella good.
And there's definitely like, but Marshall, you are terrific, so smart and gifted. I'm so narcissistic. When I fart, I sniff it and do a fake dab and smell my armpit with it. Like, that was hilarious. You know what I mean? Like, and there's hella I made great strides with these rape lines. Like that's literally something he said. Like he chops at the end of that song. What is that on Offended? Like there's glimpses in this album of like yes, like you're but there.
You gotta look for
glimpses.
It, though, in my opinion.
I really liked Castles. I liked the last two songs.
Yeah, the last two
and how they
connect.
Played off each other, connected. Like I
through, through Haley's fucking no, that look, there is moments. I don't think Eminem. I'm not even saying he's lost it because he does shit where you're like, do more of that. Like Chloroseptic remix to me was hotter than the whole album. Right. His verse on the Chloroseptic remix was better than the whole Revival. That one verse, and that's a remix of a song that's on Revival. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, man. Like I just don't like the presentation of it for some reason. I just don't think that like. The beats, I don't know. Beats are so fucking important to the fucking music
it's half
too.
The fucking,
It's like it's kind of like it's disappointing too because it's like you know, like in the past, Eminem's always had fire ass beats and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like
you got
like,
Mr. Porter, you got
Mr. Porter, Dre, and then even up to Relapse. Dre did all the Relapse, and then even Revival, like or Recovery. He had everybody. He had Just Blaze on there. He was venturing out.
That was when I started to get optimistic, even though the album wasn't. I was optimistic about Recovery.
There was some shit on Recovery.
And also because of his production choice, you know what I mean?
And Bad Meets Evil and shit, they had Havoc beats on there and fucking Alchemist and shit.
My sort of take, like overall, kind of closing thoughts, and you know, I kind of wrote a bunch of this down because it was like fresh, like hearing it, you know what I mean? But like, I think the album is like super technical, syllabically, you know what I mean? Like,
over technical.
If you broke down the run, it's almost robotic, like it's almost too perfect. You know what I mean? It's like there's no swing almost.
Initiate rhyme scheme. Chord system for more.
You know, there's lots of punches and dope wordplay.
Yes.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Lyrically, it's amazing.
And, there's no surprise. Like, on a bulk of the songs, like I said, I sense a loss of confidence You can hear it. The I Just Don't Give a Fuck M like makes guest appearances on the album, and those are like the highlights of the record. You feel me? It's like the actual guest appearances from Eminem on the project. One thing on a deeper note, I think like on a lot of songs, to me the vibe I got was like that he like wants you to like him now. And it almost seems like he's seeking validation, then in the next breath, like dismissing like critics' opinions or something. It's super kind of back.
It kind of goes back to what I was saying, where it's like he addresses this shit, like acknowledging these things people are specifically saying about his new music, and then saying, "Oh, well, you think it sucks? Suck my dick." You feel me? Mm-hmm. But there's also what I was gonna say too is, fuck, I kind of forgot. Go ahead. I'll remember.
I wrote as a note, like on the first half of the album, there seems to be a reach for inspiration. But going back to what I said on the Chloroseptic remix episode, like if you peep that, like I think he's maturing. I do think he spends a lot of time in solitude, and he thinks in his line, like it's kind of growing, so he can't necessarily always be rapping sarcastically and doing all these things. And so I think it's like a growing pains sort of thing, where he's like finding that next reinvention. But he's like half committed almost, like I want to do this, but like I'm scared to take that leap,
Well, that relates to what I remember what I was going to say now, but it's almost like also too, it's like, on the one side he don't give a fuck, but then he like kind of does these things where he's kind of trying to do like the modern, like he'll do these little parts where he either does like a modern flow or like one of the beats will be kind of 8080, and it's kind of just like foot in the water, like kind of just like dabbling in like the newer trends and stuff too. And I think that affects it a little bit too, where it's like sometimes it's cool. There's a couple songs where he does like a little bounce flow that's tight, but it's like I just think the production got to be. That's a huge part of it to me, bro. It's like I have my issues with how like he spits his shit now and stuff, and I find the silver lining, like I was saying, but it's really like the production of it, and I feel like the mixing wasn't as good as it usually is. And Aftermath and Interscope usually has the best mixing, like anything under Aftermath's umbrella from Kendrick. All the way back to just Dre himself. Everything Aftermath related is fucking really sonically known for their superiority, and I feel like the Sonics just aren't hitting on. You know what I mean?
I definitely felt that way, like from early on all the way throughout the project. Some of the beats were like stripped down, but you can still mix them in a way to like be, like phonically like in line with the bigger sounding sort of songs.
Hella tinny. There's no middle.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no meat and potatoes on that shit.
Yeah, there's no ass.
No, the bitch don't got no ass.
No ass. I also feel like it was a lot of it's like a series of concept songs. And with the concepts like going from like his feelings on social justice to like him him putting his daughter on blast like so early in his career, not realizing that could have a negative effect to his ex-wife, and the music politics and and the criticisms. Like there was actually a decently like wide array of concepts, but it was like someone the thing I've like repeated this a bunch of times like on different shit, I'm sure, but like someone told me once, and maybe it's a quote, but like don't say the message, don't write the message, like be the message. And that's why you got artists like classically like Nas and Rakim and Pac being a big one, and especially like Kendrick now, perfect example, modern, where like DNA has a lot of the song. It's hilarious, but the song DNA is like deep. You know what I mean? There's a lot of deep shit he addresses in there, but you can bump it and have a fucking good time with it, and you don't feel like you're being preached, or you don't think like, oh, this is that song where he rants about this, like, and what I find is because he is the message, therefore it comes through in him being him. He's not sitting down like, this is my deep song, this is my brooding about my wife song. This is Kendrick's more like, if you bump almost all the songs on that project, sure he does concept songs, but for the most part it has touches of everything in most songs, and it's more about creating a vibe.
Obvious. It's done sort of,
and it's more about doing it through the vibe,
What's the word I'm looking for? It's kind of done like not hella upfront.
It's like putting the peanut butter on the pill. You feel me? But like for
right,
a dog.
Yeah.
And but in doing that, it comes off more authentic to me than just like saying, this is my girl song.
Yeah.
This is my, fuck the mainstream song.
Yeah.
And, like, no one likes being preached to, you know what I mean? Like, when, like, we all kind of, like, turn off when we feel like, even subconsciously, like, even if we don't realize why or, like, what we may not like about something, a lot, like, we can tell when we're being sold on something, you know what I mean? On a lot of subconscious levels. And I think that this album, in at a lot of points, is, like, almost trying to sell you on something, you know what I mean? I mean, look at Jay-Z, look at Jay-Z's 444. You look at Kendrick's new album. Like, there's ways to, put depth within it,
Lil
but
Wayne's
still
fucking rapping is fucking...
Yeah, exactly.
That motherfucker came back.
Yeah,
with
exactly.
fire, too.
You don't have to, like, segregate
Jay-Z's been putting out
topics and, be like...
I just want that fool to get in tune a little bit with the people around him a little bit more. I mean, like that's in a perfect world. And I don't want people to get it twisted either. Like, I really am saying this shit from, like, you know how big of a fan of Eminem I am. Like,
no, yeah, for sure.
Fuck, dude. The first, up until, like, Bad Meets Evil, I could probably almost word for word most of the shit. You know what I mean? So I really want this fool to keep dropping fire, and there's glimpses of it, but I just think that fool's just gotta. I don't know what he's got to do, man. Because I swear, I fully acknowledge that
anyone that can tell you how to do it ain't never done it.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like,
I agree. And
he's one of my favorite rappers ever.
And this album, like, at times, like I said, like, getting back, I was like, okay, this is the Black Lives Matter song. This is this song about Haley. This is that. And it's cool. Like, we've even talked about how sometimes there's a lack of concept songs in hip-hop. You know what I mean? But, like, M's always done concept songs, right? And I'm not complaining. I wasn't complaining about I Never Meant to Give You Mushrooms, Girl, Stan. All these things. These are some of his career highlights, are concept songs. But on this, is just a lot of them was a miss. And it was like, those songs, he seemed better, like, to kind of convey his personality more, whereas this to me is like conveys almost an unsure message. You know what I mean?
Well,
like,
you didn't have to scratch your head to get.
Yeah.
My fault. It's right there for you. Not to say that he's got to, like. I think it's just simplify it, just slow it down. You know what I'm saying? Like,
vibe more. Like, like, what does this make me feel? Like, how are people gonna feel? Not what are they gonna think when they hear this. What are they gonna feel when they?
So it was
hear
like
this?
Eminem felt like he had to prove that he was one of the greatest lyricists when he didn't realize he already proved it. You feel me? It's like, nah, hold up, bro. You don't need these validation points, bro. You already are, like, on the top of the board.
The thing about that is, though, like, to me, a lot of the vibe I got was trying to do that with this hand, but with this hand making the, like, pop music type singles, and then in the same breath being like, well, how come the rap audience doesn't fuck with me? It's like, well, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
Which one are you gonna do?
Right.
You feel me? He teeters between them both.
Right.
And like rejecting opinion, wanting approval. Pop shit and hardcore rap. Why don't you approve of my hardcore rap shit? And I think it said, like, that being said, I think it goes back to him being his own worst critic, all these things. The point in his career he's at, like, where it's like, I get it. Where can I go from here? I'm never gonna top, what my name is, essentially. But I'm also reminded of the quotes, like, if you want to change your art, change your life.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, write something worth reading, or do something worth living. You feel me? Like, do one of the two, because that's gonna affect your art. You know what I mean? And like, getting back to, like, ending, like, on a more positive note, like, I think there are, like, we address flashes of genius throughout the record.
That's
like,
you're always going to get that with Eminem.
On a lyricism level, conceptual level, like, I really love the storytelling, like, aspects of the last two songs.
And there's chunks through it where you're like, this is just as good as Eminem has been.
I think the way it ended is like, damn, you could have even tied this throughout the record a little more. You know, I thought the last two songs were like a snapshot of, like, that's great conceptualizing. You know? And of course, I'm in no way a hater. I think it's one of the greatest of all times. Facts. And on another thing is like, I think this album, can be a beacon of hope in the way that, like, I think critics and popular opinion and all this is at he's kind of at an all-time low. And which can be an advantage for the next project. You know what I mean? I know M's smart. And here's
Well,
the
it
here's
fired
the
up that
thing.
Chloroseptic verse.
Here's the craziest thing.
The remix.
Aside from even the music making, we know M's smart. We also know M is a tastemaker. Look
Yeah.
at his signees from Obi Trice to Royce to
50
to
Cent.
50 to even fast forward, you know what I mean, the new shit with Griselda
Yep.
and with fucking Boogie. Like,
Yep.
personally, Boogie, like, I'm super hyped on it. And Griselda, you know what I mean? Like, get in the studio with them just to feel the energy.
Yeah.
Just to,
And the
you know what I
motherfuckers
mean?
are all
Like,
killing it, all
and-
different, all touching a lot of ground.
and exactly, and I think that Shady has a very bright future with those signees, and I think that if M sort of looked at what he was doing subjectively and made an album as the artist that he would want to sign next, that's the M I want to see. That's the M I want to see, because like he's teetering between I got to do the pop shit, I got to do this and that, but like what would an Eminem premiere album sound like? You don't gotta prove
Bro,
or make the singles.
I said-
You've already. What would an Eminem? It's his DJ Alchemist
Yeah, for real.
album sound like.
For real.
Like he's really at a point right now, especially
still
with this
hasn't had
low,
a-
to just do a fucking what you want record.
For
you
real.
know what I mean? Like he's the actor who did the big Hollywood budget movie so he could film his
Yeah.
own movie now. Now do your own movie.
Dude.
You know what I mean? Like you don't have to appeal. Like
I agree with
those
you on
things.
that.
That's like what I would like to see.
You just gotta scale it back a little bit.
Yeah.
Just look at it from a different perspective. That fool has every resource in the world, and his camp is like killing it right now.
Yeah.
So it's like, go lock
Yeah.
in with Just Blaze. Go get out. Go Alchemist.
Yeah.
Go chill with.
Yeah.
Go get on
And
Prime
work-
2.
Yeah.
Go get them because they're finna
Vibe
drop
with
that.
these
Which
fools,
we
yeah.
should bump that. The new song with Dave East just came out with Prime.
Yeah.
First joint
Yeah,
that they
yeah,
dropped.
yeah.
I haven't heard it
Era.
yet. You listen to it already?
No, but
Cool.
I think I heard a clip, and that's my point. Like M, you know, be the rapper you'd want to sign. That's
Yeah.
it. You know what I
There
mean?
you go.
Because you're a great tastemaker. He knows what's dope. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
and it's
I
not
know
like
that's
he's
easier
trash.
said
Like
than
this is a
done.
godlike
Yeah.
ability
Yeah.
and legacy we're talking about.
Yeah.
I just want to see it connect more.
Yeah.
You know, but I'm always going to listen and I'm
Yeah.
always going to support the shady shit. I mean, Eminem was a huge impact on my life musically.
I'll go back and bump a couple
Royce is my,
songs,
you
you know
know,
what I mean?
like I produced for Royce. Royce is one of my favorite rappers in the world. I love that whole camp. Mr. Porter is phenomenal. Griselda, Westside Gunn, and Conway and Benny, like I love that shit, bro. Boogie, a fucking genius. You feel me? Some of the most innovative
Yeah, yeah.
videos and flows.
Yeah.
So it's almost like it's almost there.
Yeah.
It's almost
Shay's
there.
got
you
a
know?
bright
You know what I'm
future,
saying?
like,
Come fuck
now
with
just-
your boy.
now just-
You might need to hit the. And you might need to hit the blunt one time, bro. Like you don't fuck with
Hit the
no
back
drugs
one.
anymore. Eminem might just need to hit the blunt ones. Go chill with Conway and take a little
Yeah.
sip of the Henny, just a little
Yeah.
bit. We don't want you to go too crazy.
I'll
but
tell you what, man.
hit the
come-
weed a little bit.
Hey, come kick it with 667.
Yeah,
man.
yeah,
We'll get
come on,
you
just
right.
come kick it for a
We'll
day,
get
bro.
you right.
You know what I'm saying? I know you're
But-
sober and shit, but just you might have to take a little hit.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah,
cool.
He could just stand in the room. You feel
yeah,
me?
for real, just
But-
and just breathe.
So yeah, I want to wrap that up, man. You know, I'm hopeful moving forward. You know what I mean? And I don't want people to think that's like a negative, like a very negative feel review or nothing.
Nah.
But,
This is from a fan's perspective.
Exactly. You know what I mean? And I'm hopeful of what's to come. You know what I mean? Be the artist you want to sign. 'Cause
Yeah.
You're a great tastemaker and trust yourself more.
Yeah.
But yes, Between the Bars, Eminem's Revival. Thanks for watching.